What's up, ladies and gentlemen? ChuckfinleLP plays Sonic Adventure 2 Part 18. We're now beginning the final story. This story begins where the Dark Side story ended, so we will see what was up with the warning sign and what was making Robotnik so angry. Now, if you look behind Gerald Robotnik, and if you'll remember back to part 3 or 4, you'll see a wall with writing on it, and that was the same wall.
You haven't given up yet?
It's all over for us.
What do you mean?
Just received a message from my boss. The space colony Ark is currently approaching the Earth at an incredible velocity. It probably will impact Earth.
That is the same wall as Sonic's cell.
For every human being on Earth, my calculations are correct. The space colony Ark will impact the Earth in 27 minutes and 53 seconds. All of you will be destroyed, along with your beloved planet Earth.
But yeah, that.
I plan to give you a taste of my revenge once all the 7 Chaos Emeralds are collected. Once I initiate this program, it cannot be disabled. All of you ungrateful humans who took everything away from me will feel my loss and despair.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No. Ready?
yes, just to say it all in one bit, the wall behind Gerald Robotnik is the same wall as in Sonic Cell from Prison Island, and that's what we have to, that was the big thing that I wanted you to remember.
Explain it to me. I'm the world's fastest hedgehog.
Let's get to work.
That's what I was saying, it was, why I was saying it was important to the story. But because friendship is magic, we are now all banding together and going through to the cannon's core, using each one of the playable character's abilities except for Shadow. Really quickly, this robot, what you have to do is wait for him to pull his gun out and shoot you with, charge up the laser to be able to hit you, and that's the only way you can blow the shield off. There will be some, like this guy, all you have to do is just walk up to him and use the propeller punch on him to be able to knock him out. So, as I've said, and as Robotnik said, we have to use each of our abilities. Each character except for Shadow will be used. Robotnik, Tails will have to go through their these style levels, going to a security door further on in the cannon's core, and then Knuckles and Rouge will have to go and find a button that they have to press, and then Sonic will have to run to a final security door near the Emerald Central, I guess, bit of the arc. Alright, so as you can see, that clock stops time. It will stop any moving platforms, any lasers that may be, any laser fields, those gigantic weights that come down and crash onto you. Alright, so there's 4 of these robots that will pop up behind you, and all you have to do with the security door is just shoot it 3 times. There will be 3 different layers to the door. You just have to shoot off all 3 layers, and then it'll disappear. You can actually destroy all 4 robots and the door without getting hurt. I just messed it up. But anyway, so this one won't rely as heavily on gun robots as research projects, so there's going to be a lot more research projects with Robotnik compared to Tails. So, which will actually be easier, except for the ones that will shoot their arms out. I believe there's a few of the big round ones that will do that. And as you can see, we are collecting different animals and chaos drives compared to the hero and the hero side characters. So if you want to collect a certain color with Robotnik and Rouge, you can do that, and that's actually a very good strategy to use. Alright, give me 1 second. Alright, so that is a really good strategy you can use. And for this green liquid, don't touch it. It's the same liquid that was in Crazy Gadget with Sonic. All you have to do is just wait for this block on the far right to pop up, and then you can jump up onto it. And that's the only way you can get across. So just, yeah, you will have to wait for it. Ouch. Try not to get hit by that. And be careful, because those blocks will push you into the green liquid. And it also, there's something in there. I've never been able to figure out quite what it is. Because that platform, as soon as you touch it, will fall out from underneath you, and you really can't, you really don't have time to try to hang on to it or jump off of it. So what you have to do is destroy these green, well, I forgot, there's something I was gonna say, but yeah, don't want to do that, because as soon as you stop blinking, you will get hurt. So you really want to wait a little bit later than this, but you want to make sure you, come on. Oh yeah, to get the A rank here, it isn't that hard. It's more based on time rather than actual it's more based on time than actual score. If you can beat this in under 5 minutes, you'll be doing pretty good. If you can't, then that's when it'll be really you'll have to rely on score a lot more. But anytime you can use the clocks to your advantage, do it. I was using them a little bit more than I should have there, but for the most part, you can always get the A rank if you get it under under 6 minutes at least, for sure. All right, so with this. Exactly, what we have to do is to climb to the top of all of these pillars, and at the top there will be a clock allowing us to go into the waterfall on the far right over there. For what the gray blocks there that you were seeing, you cannot climb onto those or latch onto them while you're climbing, so you just want to be careful while messing with them. If you do get caught, you will have to fall down and you will fall down and lose any time you may have gained. That is actually a good way to save time, because the cutscene will go on for a few moments. All right, to get out of here, you have to use that spring. Wow, no, crap, I thought I was going to make it. What you have to do is use that spring to get up, and there is a clock right here. I was hoping I could have made it. Well, I don't think I'll. There we go. There we go, okay. So, with going into that tunnel, going into it, one of those blocks can sometimes catch you out, so you have to wait and use the clock on the bottom of the entrance to that to be able to get in. Most of the time it will give you a space that you can use, but every so often you will have to use the clock to be able to get through the second clock. Alright, so for here, just immediately go down to the clock on the bottom at the top of the pillars, knock out the disable the lasers, and then go back into it. This is where we needed the air necklace at. If you don't have the air necklace here, there are a lot of bubbles around in the main chamber there and through here. To be able to dodge this guy, you just kind of stay to the top of the tunnel, but you can always go back here and hit this bomb, and that is very useful, and you will need to be able to make it a lot of the time. Oh, here we go. Alright, so you want to position this so you hit the clock, and then you can immediately come into this tunnel, because there's an air current that is flowing against you. Well, not in this tunnel, but in the next tunnel there is one, and that will catch you, and it'll put you back to the entrance of the tunnel. Ow! You did want to keep that shield, but in either way. Alright, so here we go. If you can see, the fastest way while swimming, to be fast while you're swimming, just continuously tap the square button to do a dive, and that is the fastest way to keep it straight. And you'll keep it straight. You'll stay off the ceiling, because it does slow you down a little bit while you rub along the ceiling. And if you can just do that, and if you keep tapping it just to keep Knuckles going straight, that'll help out a lot. But if you don't have the air necklace while going under there, it makes it a lot harder. The air necklace is it's kind of like going through a level in one of the old Sonic games as Super Sonic, or I guess doing a boss as Super Sonic. It's takes a lot of the difficulty away from it. Alright, so here you want to destroy these robots and then immediately run out, because you still got a ways to go, especially if you're trying to beat 6 minutes. Ow. For here, just you bounce. You won't gain a bonus like you do with Robotnik and Tails for keeping the bombs on those gun robots. So if you can lead them away from Sonic, that's best while you're doing that. Alright, for here, just homing attack up the water. I'm not sure, but it may actually kill you if you go back, if you fall, continue to fall back there. Again, I'm not 100% sure, because I normally homing attack up the water because I thought it would anyway. But for here, just make this section as fast as you can.
Yes!
And if you can beat it under 6.5 minutes, you should be able to make it.
That was cool!
So I would say just get it over 30,000 points. If you can do that in points or points and score, either way. Now we won't be able to use the dark side chaos drives until after we beat the dark side story, or until after we beat the final story. I could cut this out, but I'll show you the progress I've made with my Chow really quickly. Let's see, where in the world are we at? There we go. Alright, so this Chow, that blue Chow there, appeared out of nowhere. I was just waiting for some of my other Chow to transform, and he just appeared out of nowhere. I believe two of my Chow had a egg. Chow can do that. It's called breeding. Usually you have to use a heart fruit to be able to do that, but sometimes you can wait long enough in a guard and a Chow will do it by themselves. So this white Chow will be my swimming and flying Chow, and the Chow that I was giving the power animals to will be my climbing and running Chow. I was going to use the normal Chow as just an all-around good Chow, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I'll talk more about all of this and show off a lot more during the Chow special I'm going to do. But for now, let us continue on with the story of the final story, and we won't worry too much about Chow until after until when we need to.
I hate it when they leave me behind. Look, it's Shadow. I really gotta stop whining. Everyone's trying their best to help out, and so must I.
In reality, she's only whining because she was moved to a supporting character instead of a playable character.
Shadow, we need you. Please help us.
It's all going according to plan. There's no reason for me to help them. Besides, there's no way to save anyone.
There has to be. I know that people fight over the most trivial things. Some people may be selfish, like the professor said. But they're basically good if they try their best and never give up on their wishes. They always have a reason to be happy. That's why you should help them out. Saving them is a good thing. Shadow, I beg you, please do it for them. Give them a chance. If you're right, please.
So Shadow realizes he did not promise Maria revenge, except actually to be a savior to the world, and that is what he is going off to do. And this music is from The Lost World, in Sonic Adventure 1, and this looks a lot like the Emerald Shrine.
It looks just like the shrine of the Master Emerald. They probably designed the core like the shrine to harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds.
All of you ungrateful humans who took everything away from me will feel my loss and despair. All of you ungrateful humans who took everything away from me will feel my loss and despair.
Could this be the prototype of the ultimate life form that was supposed to be encapsulated? It feels like to me. Shadow, what are you doing? I'll take care of this while you run to get the Chaos Emerald.
Alright, so this fight was the fight in the DS version for Sonic Generations. Of course, Sonic fight it instead of Shadow. But now this fight is a pain in the ass at the best of times and the worst nightmare you could think of on the worst of times. So what you want to do is save all. There's 4 sets of, I believe, 6 rings, 7 rings around this circle. You want to collect at least 5, well, 2 to 3 while you're fighting, but make sure you save as much as you can because you will need them. Now for the first attack, all he'll do is he'll either chase you with his head or his tail, depending on how. If you get too far away from the head, his tail will begin to attack you. If you fall in the water, you will be drug out along the current, away from the Emerald Shrine and out towards where we came from originally. There. Alright, so what you want to do here is just watch the energy shots. The ones that are up in the area, those are the ones you have to dodge. The ones on the ground, that's the ones you have to jump over. For the best way to avoid them is try to get as far away as you can from them, so you'll have a lot more time to react. If you get too close to his head, you won't have near the amount of time to react that you would need to be able to dodge each shot. And I didn't show it off very good there because I couldn't get far enough away. This is about good enough. Just stay as far away from the shots as you can. Don't worry too much about the rings, especially if you're saving some. And then you'll see when he's getting tired, then you can grind up the pipe on his mouth, and you'll be able to continue on. Now the best time to begin collecting rings is once you've got him down to about 90% of health, and that will be when he has 2 more hits left. This fight really isn't that difficult. You won't have to, may have to replay it a couple times just to be able to get the pattern of the shots down. They're the same every time you fight the fight, and every time you, and they're pretty easy to memorize. Alright, so what we have to do is you got a homing attack on these pink spheres, get to the life support system on his back, and then jump down. The spheres do move, they do home in on you and attack. They will attack you, and you can sometimes actually. Okay, so there's the tail that I was talking about. You really don't want to get too. You really don't want the tail to start attacking you, because once the energy shots come, you won't really know where to position yourself for the final. For when he starts using the energy shots. Alright, so yeah, as I was saying, the spheres do move, and it is very easy to attack the body instead of the life support system. And if you attack the body, all you'll do is just take damage. You won't hurt the bio lizard. And what you have to do here is dodge the pink spheres, get on one of these rails, grind onto his back. Don't worry about Shadow freaking out down there in the water. That doesn't mean you'll die. You've beat the... you've beat the boss, everything's fine, you know, everything's good, so don't worry about that. The pink spheres at the end really isn't that difficult. You can easily see where to go and maneuver, and being just floating there really doesn't affect your movement at all.
Swords are the seven chaos. Chaos is power. Power is enriched by the heart. True is the one that unifies the chaos. Only you can do this. Stop the Chaos Emerald! Is it gone? Is that what chaos control is?
And of course, Shadow never seeing Chaos Control since he uses it.
Stop the Chaos Emeralds. Why is the space colony still on a crash board in the Earth? Sonic?
Staring intently at each other, a befuddled Knuckles, and... Alright, so this is where we transform into Super Sonic, and it would seem that Shadow has a super form as well. That form is called Ultimate Shadow, and it is the inverted colors of his normal colors: black, white, black, inverted is white, and of course Sonic's super form is yellow. Yellow is the inverted form of blue, or color of blue. The stripes on Shadow's quills and fur stay the same. And while that does look kind of like a cream color, it is supposed to be white, because in later Sonic games that is white instead of that cream color. Alright, so this fight isn't too difficult. It can be difficult, I will say that. It's definitely difficult than some of the boss fights that we've had in the Sonic series before, namely Sonic 1's boss fight, Sonic 3's boss fight. Alright, so as you can see, we do run out of rings. We do run out of rings, and that's why we keep changing between each other. While Shadow is hurting the swollen parts on BioLizard's body, Sonic is going after more rings. As you can see, Shadow said he'll collect the rings. Alright, so there will be the lasers that BioLizard is shooting. They won't hurt you and you won't lose rings, but they will send you back, and that will make you lose rings. And as you keep going on, there will be the brown spheres and the lasers, and the brown spheres do home in on you and attack, and once they get in bigger clusters, and once there are two lasers, which are a little bit harder to predict than just one, you can kind of tell where the single laser will go. To dive up and down, you press the square and circle respectively. X to dive up, square to dive down, and that will help you gain speed and move on. Well, a little late. Oh, all right. So you can see what the brown spheres do and what the lasers will do. I think I already got hit by a laser, but once you get closer to the body, the brown spheres will go crazy and just start all coming at you at once. Sonic having to go in that field isn't as nearly as hard as Shadow's going onto this. The lasers are a lot less predictable, and there's a lot more of these brown spheres. If you know where the laser pattern is going to be, you can immediately dive in between the two lasers and then kind of swing in from the bottom right to hit it. Once you get close enough to the red swollen spot, the Sonic and Shadow will immediately home in onto it, so you don't have to really worry about maneuvering it all that much. And as you saw with Sonic when I first hit him, you can actually kind of just graze it and it'll still pop and damage him. So you really don't have to worry about that. Alright, so Alright, so you can see they're both charging at the space station, and then we'll hit it with a massive chaos control, sending it back into a stable orbit, but it would seem that it is weakened shadow.
Maria, this is what you wanted, right? This is my promise I made to you.
To where he can no longer float, and he falls to Earth. The colony is now back in a stable orbit, and everything's good again. And all the people's cheering and everything. So this isn't going to be like a traditional ending credits like for the other stories or Sonic Adventure. The characters will actually talk, but there won't be any subtitles on the bottom. So I have to kind of listen, because they are kind of hard to hear.
Really think that the professor created him, Shadow, to carry out the revenge on all those who live here on Earth?
He was what he was. A brave and heroic hedgehog who gave his life to save this planet. Shadow the Hedgehog.
I guess you're right.
Is it true? I went back to my grandfather because of all the great things he accomplished in his life. He was my hero, and I wanted to be a great scientist like him. What? Did he really want to do this?
I don't know, but what I do know is we all did it together.
So what's next for you, Rouge? Off again to find those jewels you love so much?
I think I'm gonna give up this line of work. Too much work for too little pay. Anyway, I've got something better than jewels that I'm thinking about right now. It'll all work out. You'll see.
If you say so. Creating the ultimate life form.
What's the matter, Sonic?
Oh, it's nothing. Come on, let's go home to the planet as cool and blue as me. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Alright, so I guess my thoughts about the final story. The individual characters, they are the same, the mechanics and everything. Knuckles' level will be easier if you do get the air necklace, so you make sure you go and grab that before attempting to do the final story. Sonic's bit isn't as long as it could have been. They could have definitely made it a lot longer. It's really short. Surprisingly, you know, Robotnik's and Tails was probably a little longer than what they're used to, at least early on in their stories. But the Bio-Lizard fight isn't that hard if you know the pattern of the shots, and if you stay back far enough close to the tail while he's shooting them, so you give yourself more time to react. The final story again, or the FinalHazard, isn't as difficult as it could have been. The lasers aren't that hard to. You may not have to play it more than once to remember the pattern where they go. The brown spheres aren't that hard to dodge at all. You saw me with Sonic just sitting there, kind of going in circles, you know, and not getting hit by any of them. So it is a really good final boss fight. I will give it that. You know, it's not as hard as some boss fights in the final or in the Sonic series, but it isn't as easy as some boss fights in the Sonic series. Like I said, Sonic 1, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles. But anyway, so I think for watching the challenge video is how many of those brown spheres were out there in the entire FinalHazard boss fight. As I've said before, I will do the Chow special, but I also will show where every character's Mystic Melody is and all of the well, really quickly. But for now, rest easy, heroes. And then it'll show Shadow on the Earth, kind of like a ghost, I guess, on the Earth. But anyway, that'll show off where every character's hidden items are. There is still a few things for Rouge. I think at least one more item for Rouge, a couple more items for Tails and Robotnik. But again, I think for watching the challenge video is how many brown spheres were out there were in the entire final Hazard fight. I thank you for watching. Until next time.